All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday, December 21st, North Middlesex Council meeting. At this time, it is 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest, please forward it through to Richard. Seeing none, minutes of the previous meeting from December 7th. Any errors, omissions, or business arising? Councillor Daigle.
Just one question. When we talk about the recognition awards, we mentioned 3 people, but there was about 8 people mentioned. So they're not being recorded in minutes, the ones that weren't here. But they should, I think their names should still go into the minutes because it's a milestone.
Okay, can we do that? Add their names to the minutes, please? Okay,
Okay.
thank you. That's noted to be changed. Anything else? Seeing nothing else, we have need a motion to accept those minutes by Councillor Daigle, seconded by Councillor Teal. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Department reports, and we'll start with our first one is a request for a drain major improvement. And that is the Hutchison Eagleson drain. And Joanne, go ahead.
The Mayor and member of council, in front of you is the report, request for drain major improvement received and to appoint the engineer for the Hutchison Eagleson drain. So the recommendations are that council receive the report for the notice of request of the drain major improvement for the Hutchison Eagleson drain under section 78 of the Drainage Act, and that council appoint R. Dobbin Engineering Incorporated as engineer to the Hutchison Eagleson drain project.
Any questions for Joanne on this? Seeing no questions, we have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Councillor Keogh, seconded by Councillor Daigle. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks. And your second report, Joanne?
Mayor and members of council, my second report in front of you is to request a drain improvement that was received and to appoint the engineer for the Rock Municipal Drain. The recommendations are that council receive the request for drain improvement on the Rock Municipal Drain under section 78 of the Drainage Act, and that council appoints R. Dobbin Engineering Incorporated, as the engineer to the Rock Municipal Drain project.
Any questions on this? Councillor Canelson.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Joanne, I noticed that we appoint Dobbin to a lot of our drainage engineering. Is there a competition to be engineers, or do we just select the ones that we feel are the most adequate?
We have a contract with R. Dobbin Engineering.
Okay.
Yeah. So unless a landowner actually asks for, say they'll ask for Spreets or Bill Dietrich, and then they put that in writing and then we bring that to council. But otherwise we appoint R. Dobbin Engineer.
Fine, thank you.
And I believe, did we not do that through we actually did a tender process on that?
Yeah.
Did we not? Thank you. Any other questions on that? Seeing no, Councillor Daigle?
One question. It said, from what I read in the report, this person did a lot of the drainage work before coming to us. Like, is it complete and we're just having it checked?
It is complete, yes. But yes.
Okay. All at his expense.
But we're going to start over the process.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No other questions. We have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Deputy Mayor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Nerda. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Joanne. Our next one is a report from the clerk on animal control and pound keeper services. Richard.
Thank you, Worship. This report addresses the fact that the current animal control agreement with Cozy Country Kennels is expiring at the end of January. There was a public document put out with a closing date of December 8th for any interest in that service to be submitted. There was only one submission, that being from Cozy Country Kennel. So we're recommending that they be continued on for another year to supply that service to the municipality of North Middlesex.
All right, thank you, Richard. Any questions for Richard on this? No questions? We have a recommendation in front of us. What's your wish? Moved by Councillor Canelson, seconded by Councillor Daigle. All in favor? Carried. 4.5, report from the fire chief on a service agreement with Lambton Shores. Greg. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the one. Sorry, Brandon. Report for the recreation and facilities on the school shared use agreement.
Mayor Op, members of council, the report in front of you is looking for council's blessing in approaching the local school boards of our community to do a shared use agreement. Currently, we provide our local schools with our community centers for Christmas events, for their graduation. We let them use our ball diamonds. We let them use our ice rink. One of the things that's come forth this year is the difficulty in getting insurance. The process through Thames Valley and through London District Catholic School Board, each time it's a fair bit of administrative work for each trip. So what I'm looking to do is approach both boards on a shared use agreement where we would just exchange insurance every year. They would sign off on any event that the principal deems worthy of their school use, that he would sign off on it and therefore be covered by their insurance policy. To do this, we would need a shared use reciprocal agreement. The benefit to the municipality through a reciprocal agreement would be that we actually would be able to use some of their facilities for our programming. So our YMCA would be able to run perhaps a dodgeball, a volleyball, a basketball at a high school gym during hours where there's a staff there. And it just kind of opens up our programming and also allows it easier process for them to use our facilities, possibly more school teams, phys ed classes on our facilities and stuff like that being looked after. I did attach an example that would be a framework that I would take to county legal just to get a legal opinion on prior to going through the legal process and firming up an agreement to take to the school boards. I wanted council's blessing. So the report is looking for direction to pursue both an agreement with the Thames Valley District School Board and London District Catholic School Board.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Questions for Brandon on this? Councillor Irwin first and then Councillor Canales.
Thanks, Brandon. So this is the preliminary step, and then you'll be bringing back a full agreement with a schedule attached and potential shared use.
Through Mayor Op to Councillor Irwin. So the plan would be to go through legal, have an actual agreement that outlines the reciprocal use, get Thames Valley and London District Catholic School Board to sign up, like to agree to it in principle, bring it back to council, and then from there formalize.
Okay, Councillor Canales.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Brandon, when you made reference to the availability of board staff, I'm assuming that would be like maintenance or janitorial staff, but not necessarily faculty. Is that correct?
Through Mayor Op to Councillor Cornelison, that is correct. Some of the other agreements in place with Avon Maitland School Board and some of the municipalities to our north outline that because as long as custodial staff is there to basically unlock the building for the program, and as long as they're out before custodial staff is done, which is generally a 10:30 to 11 in most schools. Then
Thank you.
The time.
Okay, Councillor Daigle.
The agreement mentions our equipment maintaining the track. If during the summer months, the school board, for us to be covered under their insurance as a contractor, we'd have to be named as a contractor. Because our equipment's going on at somebody else's property to do work.
So through Mayor Op to Councillor Daigle, the intention of that would be strictly for our programming. So that equipment would be classified as part of the programming that we are putting on. It wouldn't be maintaining their property by any means. It would be if there's a walking program, let's say this on a certain day, and they don't normally have maintenance during the summer, we would maintain the track for that program. And then that would be through legal and through our insurance as well. We would make sure that that would be covered.
Okay. Yeah, one other thing I noticed, it talks about the board, the school board having the right, the director or his designate has the right to give approval or not. Nowhere in it does it say that you have the right to approve or disapprove.
So through the legal process, we would be looking to clean that up. This agreement in front, the example is just something I've pulled together basically through other agreements that municipalities have with schools and piecemeal together that way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? No other questions? You have a recommendation in front of you. What is your wish? Moved by Councillor Irwin, second by Deputy Mayor Hodgins. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we'll go to 4.5, the report from the fire chief on the service agreement with Lambton Shores.
Thank you, Your Worship. Members of council, what you have in front of you here is a report requesting direction as to whether we want to explore a fire protection agreement with Lambton Shores Emergency Services to provide fire protection in the area of the southwest corner of North Middlesex. As some of you may know, Lambton Shores did provide protection in that area up until 2016. We terminated that agreement in 2016. There's a new funding formula that they're proposing, which I think is more reasonable. And I'd like to pursue exploring that with Lambton Shores.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Councillor Canellison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Greg, as you know, and as you identified, we did have a previous agreement with them, and the cost actually, when we look at the services that Luca Badolf provides to Ward 3, as compared to what Lambton Shores was providing in Ward 5, the costs are very, very prohibitive.
Yes.
At that time, we were also on their fire committee, as you will recall. However, because it was the funding charges were changed to a tax ratio on properties, the fire marshal determined that we would then have a valid vote on that committee. And so we were then removed from that committee so that we could not have any vote on the fire services or anything that occurred within the fire board there. Consequently to that, the charges, the rate that they were charging increased significantly to the point where it was no longer financial. We did not feel it was financially feasible for us to continue with those services. My questions for you are what do we pay Luke and Badolf, and what is the size of the area that they cover as compared to what you're proposing here? What is the distance to response time to Greenway and Mount Carmel versus Hungry Hollow?
Mhm.
And then I think I have one other question. I can't remember what it was. I did send it to you. Do you recall what it was?
Yes, explain to council the difference between a fire protection agreement, which is what we're talking about here,
Yes.
and mutual aid.
Yes, mutual aid. If you could have just informed the council in general, the difference between fee for service versus mutual aid.
Yes. So a fire protection agreement is basically a contract between our two municipalities that they will provide service. Mutual aid is if we get called to an event where we don't have adequate resources, whether it's equipment or personnel, we can call in another fire department and they will come. So fire protection agreement, contract, mutual aid, we need help, please come, and they come.
To clarify, in my memory, the most significant recent incident we had out there was on Elm Tree Drive, a barn fire there, I believe. And I think there were a number of departments that responded to that. So if I understand you correctly, does that mean that North Middlesex would be the first responders, and if they're unable to meet the requirements to battle the blaze, that they would then call in support services from around other municipalities?
Yes, that's correct. So that barn fire you're talking about, we had Adelaide Metcalf, Kerwood Station came, Thedford, Arcona. We more recently had a brush fire where we had Arcona and Thedford also come. So that's mutual aid. We need help and they come.
Okay. So the cost, I feel that we would need an understanding what the total cost would be, what the agreement would look like, what impact or influence or participation would North Middlesex have, if any, on the services that are provided. Is that part of the agreement that you're looking at?
So what I'm looking for is if you would like me to start into negotiations or discussions with Lambton Shores, I'm happy to do that. You had asked about some of the response times. I felt the best way to look at that was the distances, because the time from us to get to the hall, and that may be determined based on the time of the day and or the night. But from the Park Hill station to Hungry Hollow is just over 19 kilometers, which at regular rates of speed would be 15 minutes. From the Arcona station, it's 3.8 kilometers. So maybe 4 minutes of drive time. To Kaiser, which Kerwood Road and Townsend Line, 14 kilometers from Park Hill, 8.3 from Arcona, so about 6 minutes. Townsend Line at 81, both are about 9 or 10 minutes. Now, you'd asked about Greenway, that's about 11.7 kilometers, so 9 minutes, a little less than it would take us to get to Center Road and Townsend. And then I went in the other direction, River Road and Park Hill Drive, and that's just shy of 12 kilometers. So again, about 9 minutes. So Hungry Hollow is a significant distance from the Park Hill station.
Yes, I understand that. Okay. Well, thank you for your response. I appreciate it.
Greg, just to clarify, those times you're giving are strictly driving times.
Strict-
Once you're at the station, driving times.
Yes, sir. That's off Google Maps. If you're driving the posted speed limit, that's how long it should take.
Okay, was there other questions? Deputy Mayor Hodgins.
Quickly, through Brian to Greg. We don't know how, or do we have a determination as to how many households we are talking about over there?
In my discussions with the fire chief, it's totally up to us. If we wanted to say we just want to cover the hamlet of Hungry Hollow, and that's 15 houses, then it's 15 times $122. If we wanted to take it over to Kaiser, however many homes are there, not businesses, however many homes, we add that to however many are in Hungry Hollow. We want to go down the river to, it's totally up to us. Their rate right now is $122.16 per home.
Just quick again.
Go
No,
ahead.
so it's kind of determination from, I don't know, I guess their fire department and ours, and maybe the comfort of the people over there.
Yes,
How many households we actually take on.
yes.
Other questions? The one thing, after being a part of that 2016 decision, what I would want to have a pretty long-term agreement with them so that we weren't in 2 years looking at this again and all of a sudden the costs have become prohibitive again. I don't want to add that service and then take it away again. So I think it would have to be with the understanding of a long-term agreement or a longer-term agreement. I don't know. I think Councillor Canellis, and you were a part of that as well. And we have to make sure it's a long-term.
Yes, Mayor Rob, you're absolutely correct, because as I've shared with the chief just previous to our meeting here, the reason that we decided to terminate that agreement was the significant increase in that last year, where it increased, like, I think almost 30%. And at the time, it was based on a taxation model versus a fee model. And that didn't seem to be something we were interested in. And I continue to have those concerns. I will be frank with you. I continue to have them.
Yeah, and your worship, if I could circle back to the question that Councillor Cornelison asked at the beginning, how much we are paying to Luke and Badolf. In 2023, it'll be 9,613. We've set fees with a 1.7% increase over the life of the agreement.
Councillor Irwin.
Yeah, just a quick question, Chief. What is the average response time we're hoping to achieve throughout our community?
I don't have that information for you, Councillor. It will be part of my annual report.
And when does that come? When is our annual report?
Hopefully early in the new year as I
Okay,
can be.
no, I just wondered, I'm not trying to press,
Yeah.
just when will that be?
Yeah.
Okay, other questions? And I'm not opposed to looking into this. I just want to make sure that we aren't getting caught up in that same thing. Other questions from council? No other questions. We have this report in front of us, and what is your wish here? Councillor Daigle. Okay, we have a motion to pursue. Seconder? Councillor Irwin,
I have a question.
and questions on that?
To proceed with negotiations, that's to explore cost, but no firm commitment at this time.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions on that? In favor? Carried. Thank you, Chief. Our next is a report from the Manager of Infrastructure and Operations, the radar speed signs. Jaden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. The report before you provides an information update on our plans for implementation of radar speed signs across the municipality. Radar speed signs are a traffic calming tool used to measure the speed of approaching vehicles and display the measured speed. They can be temporary or permanent installations and are typically used at speed sensitive locations to reduce vehicle speeds. Radar speed signs are not intended to directly enforce speed limits, but rather to inform motorists of their speed, thereby getting them to slow down to follow the speed limit. The municipality currently has 5 radar speed signs in inventory, and 2 additional units have been ordered as requested by council on its October 5th meeting. 1 unit's mounted to a mobile trailer, and the other 4, as well as the 2 on order, are portable mountable units which can be mounted to posts. Another feature of our speed radar signs is the ability to collect and compile data, including vehicle counts and vehicle speeds. The data collection is provided through a cloud-based software platform, which has an annual fee. However, we're currently in a free trial period for approximately another year. Within this report, we are recommending 6 locations to install the radar speed signs across the municipality. The 6 locations are summarized in the table and figure within the report, and they were selected with input from the Public Works Department, as well as Middlesex County, with consideration for areas where vehicle speeding is commonly witnessed, and for areas where the municipality has previously heard complaints or concerns from residents or council. We recommend maintaining these 6 locations for a period of 6 months, after which time we will plan on reporting back to council with some statistics, as well as recommendations for new locations. Financial information summarized in the report, including the cost of the units of approximately $3,600 each, as well as the annual costs for the data collection and cloud software for data and reports, should we look at those. The recommendation before you is to receive this report for information and to endorse the proposed approach for implementing speed radar signs in the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you. Just before I go to council for questions, Jaden, the one that's mounted on the trailer, that will continue to be a mobile unit, correct? That will go around to hotspots, sort of say?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, question from council. Councilor Nerda.
How much longer do we have in our free trial?
So we don't really, it's not 100% clear because when we first ordered the sign, it was never set up or it was never utilized. So I worked with the vendor to get that extended out. And we ordered new signs since then. So we don't really have a set time, but I anticipate them providing us another year with the new signs we recently ordered.
Because what I worry that have 1 month left of our free subscription, we won't get the data unless we start paying $4.50 per sign. So those are my worries there, that we only have a short time to not collect enough data to realize if these are doing what we intend them to do.
Right. So I can get that information through the vendor to confirm when that is available, but I do believe we have that for approximately another year. I can confirm that.
Okay. Councilor Irwin.
First off, I want to applaud this initiative. I have to say, during the recent municipal campaign, one of the most significant issues was speeding in the community of Elsa Craig. And anything that can help to address that, the residents would be very pleased to see. Picking up on the previous question from the councilor, is there any data in other communities in terms of how these have impacted speed limits by their installation?
So not specific to certain other communities, but studies have shown that they do slow vehicles down. And the data shows that. Typically, there are features you can do, like it's called putting the unit in stealth mode. So you install it, but it's not displaying speed signs, and you collect sort of like a baseline of speeds, and then you activate it to show the speed signs. And it also has a strobe light that sort of catches vehicles' attention, and it has been shown to reduce vehicle speeds.
Go ahead.
If I can follow up, thank you, Your
Yep.
Worship. And not to direct you where to place these signs, but I have to say that in a couple of cases, like number 2 location here, north limit where speed limit begins, southbound traffic, Big concern about that part of the community because of the new subdivision that's going in, lots of line of sight issues, blind spots. And it's a accident waiting to happen. And I think Councillor Daigle, who I see walk that road all the time, probably can attest to that. At some point, I may want to come back to council and even suggest lowering the speed limit in that part of the community at some point.
Okay, just to clarify, you're talking on the north, coming in from the north.
Yeah.
On Queen North.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's, the speed limit is 50, 60, 50. So that means 90, 80.
I understand.
And it's a challenge.
And that's where the sign, will that help us?
Yes.
Right, and that's what, okay. Okay, Councillor Keo.
Thank you, Mayor Ruff. Jaden, I just have one question for you. On the sign site number 4, you have it on the north end of Nairn, approximately at the curve where the trailer park is. Another area that I would like to make note of, and that would be at the most southerly tip of Nairn on County Road 19. The fact that it is a truck route and that's coming into the hamlet of Nairn. There is a lot of school buses that round that corner morning and night. So if we could add that as a location as well, it's on the same road. It's just at the southern portion of the hamlet of Nairn. That's right, toward the traffic lights at Nairn Road.
So, go ahead, Gene, go ahead. I was just wanted to clarify, but you go ahead and get.
Yeah, I was going to clarify as well. So we do have a set number of speed signs. So just wanted to clarify whether you're suggesting moving number 4 to that different location or redeploying a different sign.
If it was up to me, I'd like to have one on both ends of the hamlet of Nairn, but if.
I just want to add to that, if I may, Councillor Teal, is that we talked about this when we ordered signs, and we just ordered more here recently. We said, and if we need a couple more, they're not that expensive. If it helps the speed in our community, that we should look at that and purchase more. I mean, that is, if it helps.
We did it budget last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Jane.
And just to add, we do have that 7th mobile trailer unit, and that can be deployed to different areas. So if we want to get both directions or another spot there, we could look at deploying that mobile unit.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Jason, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm very pleased to see the recommendation that you brought forth here. However, I do have a question and a concern, if I may, that I would like to clarify for the benefit of the residents of Park Hill who may be viewing these proceedings. I noticed that there are no speed limit signs or speed enhanced signs or whatever proposed for Main Street Park Hill, which in the summertime, the traffic going to Grand Bend, as we all know, it goes very, very quickly through here. Once the rehabilitation of Main Street is complete, will these signs then be relocated to service both ends of the Park Hill Main Street?
Through the mayor. So we haven't set, we haven't determined the next locations. The recommendation within the report would be to bring back a report to council, but we can certainly look at those locations, and we're open to receiving input from council for where they would like to see these located.
I appreciate that very much, because I've had a number of people express concerns, particularly in the summertime. We have a number of seniors living here at our retirement home who need to access both the drugstore, the post office, and the banks, et cetera, and they have a very challenging time to cross the street. So hopefully we can look at that once the rehabilitation has been completed.
And I think, Adrian, if I just to point to that, that's what I was saying. If we need to order, or if council feels that we need to order a couple more to fill a couple more spots, then I think that's something council can do for our staff. So any other questions on that? We have a motion to approve this plan. Councillor Daigle, Councillor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Jade. Our next one is a report from the CAO treasurer on the user fees and charges.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the report in front of you is basically a commitment that staff made last year when we were preparing the 2022 budget to proceed with an annual review of our user fees and charges at budget time. So since this is budget time for 2023, staff has done an extensive review of our user fees and charges and the different schedules outlined in the report are the recommended changes that staff are bringing forward to council for their approval. Now, we can go schedule by schedule and open the floor to questions if you want, or we can just open the floor to questions now for whatever schedule you have questions for. But before we do that, I do want to outline on schedule L, I believe it is, where we list the Public Work Department equipment and staff. There is a piece of equipment that is omitted from the schedule in error, and I would like to add the Kubota RTV to the list of equipment at a cost of $30, the proposed fee for the work that would utilize that specific piece of equipment. So I can open the floor for questions at this time.
I think, does anyone need to have it go through each one or just open it for questions overall? All right, let's do that. Councillor Irwin.
I just have a general question to begin, just because I'm new to council. When was the last time we reviewed our fees in depth to this degree?
It was during the budget preparation for 2022. So it was last year at this time.
So this isn't, if I can have a follow-up, is this an annual process then?
Yes, it will be.
Thank you. No, it will be. Has it been?
Well, it started last year
Okay.
and it will be moving forward.
So previously, it wasn't.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that you had that it is going to be an annual and it was started just last year. So, yeah. Councillor Canellison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Estelle, the one thing I see that it's not here, and that's for the benefit of the council that it's composed today, like newer councillors here. And Greg, I noticed that there's nothing here from the fire department. I know that there is some fees for some of the trucks when there's a violation of a fire permit.
Yes, our last year or the year before, we just tied it to the MTO rate. So every year, the Ministry of Transportation sets a rate that you can charge for responses to public roadways. We just follow that amount.
For each piece of equipment, or is there some piece of
It's-
equipment more costly than others?
Each piece of equipment for the first hour is a flat rate, and then every half hour thereof. And I believe there's a provision there that it's a maximum of 3 pieces of equipment that you can bill for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Other questions on, should that be on our fees and charges that for the fire, please see, just refer it to.
If I may,
Yes.
what you see under Schedule I in the report is the fire department fees, and they don't show up there because there are no recommended changes. These are all listed on when the bylaw comes forward on January 18th. They will definitely, the full schedule is going to be listed.
Perfect. Thank you. Other questions on this? Councillor Irwin?
Yeah, if we could talk about Schedule J, please. Now, in light of Bill 23, are we comfortable with what's being recommended here? This is the planning and development increases.
Through the mayor to Councillor Irwin, Bill 23 will bring forth changes. I actually scheduled today, Watson and Associates will come present to council the effects of Bill 23 on North Middlesex specifically at the February 1st meeting. And following that presentation, if need be, if we need to make modifications to these fees and charges, we will at that time.
Okay. Other questions?
I'll keep asking.
Councillor Irwin?
So a 25% increase to get married? Now, what is that about? We're just encouraging people not to, are we? We gotta have some levity at the meeting.
The increase that is recommended is specifically for ceremonies that occur outside of business hours where our officiant needs to go elsewhere. We were currently, so the current fee is 300. We are recommending an increase to 400 to have a better split between the officiant and the municipality portion.
So much cheaper to get married 9 to 5.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You can save $100. Any other questions? Any other questions on this? All right, seeing none, a recommended motion, the council of North Middlesex establishes the fees and charges as set out in this report. Moved by Councillor Nerdis, seconded by Councillor Daigle. In favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks. Passing of accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the report in front of you outlines the municipality's expenses for the period of December 3rd through to the 15th, totaling $2,708,675.99. I open the floor to questions.
Questions? Councillor Canellison.
Thank you, Mayor Roth. Yes, my question is for Jaden, and that's on the landmark structures for the Elskirk Water Tower. I see another significant payment there. My question for you is, what status is the tower in terms of its budget? And are there any amounts still owing on that building?
Thank you, Councillor Canelson. So the water tower project was, it reached substantial performance on October 18th. The project, we are currently estimating it to come in the end under budget by approximately $250,000. And we have approximately $250,000 remaining to be paid to the contractor, separate.
Good news. Thank you, Jaden.
All right. Any other questions for the accounts? Councillor Keel.
Thank you, Mayor. Estelle, I just have one question, and it's with regards to the eScribe software, the subscription renewal for $6,255. Does that incorporate the eScribe that is on our iPads the ones that we are finding it difficult to?
Through the
Enter
mayor
into?
to Councillor Keough, yes, it does.
And are they going to make effort to? make
We
that a
can
little bit-
request their assistance to make it easier
Okay.
for the councillors to use the software the way it's supposed to be used. Absolutely.
That would be fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is strange because, like I said, at the county, as Adrian knows, that you log into it, no problem whatsoever. But I know with our with our North Middlesex one that we don't, we're having some trouble.
I can contact county IT and
Okay.
see if we can get their help to resolve the issues.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Canal.
Yes, I have one more question, and this one's for Brandon. Brandon, in going through the accounts, I see that there was a fee paid for the Laxon certification. Now, my question for you, Brandon, is does each department of municipality need to have certified personnel available to apply naloxone to people, or just recreation, or how does that work?
So through the mayor to Councillor Cornelison, as far as I know, I don't know that we've had certification other than through fire. I believe firefighters get that training. I don't believe any municipal staff have received that training. So I would pass that on to the fire chief.
Well, just before you respond, Greg, but my understanding was recent legislation that the workplace will be coming in where each workplace has to have that available.
So through the mayor to Councillor Cornelison, I'm not exactly sure, but if that legislation does come through, we will have to abide by it. And I know as the culture changes around the municipalities, I'm sure that it won't be long before our staff do have to receive some of that training. So
Thank you, Brandon.
Councillor Daigle, you have a question.
My question isn't really on any of the checks that are here. It's on our big capital projects. We're new, a bunch of us, the councilors are new. We see a large check, but we don't know where we are in the process on each project. Is it possible to have a general ledger runoff that shows us what was accepted, what was budgeted, and where we are on it? So when we look at an amount, that fits or it doesn't fit, and then we can go from there.
Through the mayor to Councillor Daigle. Again, through the budgeting process, it is, I do present a capital continuity
Okay.
report for council members specifically for that information.
Councillor.
Thank you.
Yeah, Council Daigle made me think of another point here. So is that annual, quarterly, semi-annual? How often do we do the Gantt charting?
Currently, annually. In my plans moving forward, I would like to bring forth to council a biannual financial report that will give you an outline of the municipality finances twice a year.
Okay. Any other questions on the accounts? Seeing none, we need a motion for this. Councillor Daigle, seconded by Councillor Keel. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Committee reports. There's probably no reports yet on it, but Councillor Nelson might have for ABCA.
I do, Mayor Robin, actually I do. And we had a board meeting last week where we talked a little bit about the changes that are coming through the Asaba Bayfield and the fee for services. My understanding was, and I checked with Estelle today, that the staff of the Asaba Bayfield did meet with each municipality, spoke with their CAOs. Apparently that was done prior to Estelle taking on the role of the CAO. So we may not have all the information available to us. However, one of the things that was discussed was the category 3 services, which are recommended but not necessarily mandated, and that there would be a fee for service and how that would be applied. Those services are environmental monitoring and research, watershed stewardship and restoration, education and community outreach, and plans and services. These would all be paid for based on the apportionment, which in North Middlesex case is 11% of the total budget. Now, that does not mean that we will receive 11% of those services. It just means that we'd be contributing 11% of the costs for all of those services if we choose to opt into those agreements. The other thought that I had, and I did bring it up at the board, was that the proposal is for a 5-year term agreement, which would cover this term of council plus the 1 year of the next term of council. My question to the board at that time was, is this not a substantial length of time, given that it's a new procedure and a new term and a new process for both municipalities and the Asaba Bayfield? However, there seemed to be a strong feeling that the board or the Asaba Bayfield does want the 5-year term. However, again, each municipality can negotiate a shorter term if they so wish. That's my understanding. Estelle, I don't know if you have anything you wish to add.
I do not have anything to add. We are still reviewing the agreements and bring it to council for decision in regards to if we want to sign as is or if we want to recommend any changes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for Asaba Bayfield?
Not at this time.
Thank you. So we do on committees, there is, we have 3 committees where we do have to add one more member to them. That is the local school advisory. Right now, Councillor Irwin and Deputy Mayor Hodgins is on it. We have to add one more person there. The rec committee, we have Councillor Nerda and Councillor Daigle, and we should be adding one more there. And on the policy review committee, there's Deputy Mayor Hodgins and myself, and we should be adding one more there. And so we don't have to have it today, but if people would be interested in stepping up into one of those committees, please let us know. Like I said, I don't think we need it today, but for our next meeting, we should have those spots filled. Councillor Daigle. Yes, absolutely.
I put my name in for the policy review committee.
Okay. And so that would just leave the local school advisory and the recreation committee. And the recreation committee is meeting quarterly? Okay, just one. Councillor Keel?
I'll put my name forth for the Recreation Committee with my 2 counterparts here on this side.
Excellent. So yeah, with just local school advisory, we need another person. No, I know, Councillor Cornelison, you've been on it for a number of years, and it's good to have.
In addition to that, the Rural Education Task Force has left a bit of a bad feeling for me.
Yep, I understand that. But we'll leave that for now, and if somebody's willing, please step forward. I'm going to move on to correspondence. Request from David Dumpy, 174 John Street, living in the 5th wheel trailer. I don't want to discuss this letter in like it was more for council to see what's going on in the community, to raise awareness of what's going on. As you can see, they are talking with our staff, talking with planning to rectify that. But that letter's there for us to see that this is in our community now. And it's not just one person that's having that problem. And it's, this is not a person who's sitting around home. He's a working person. So just want council to be aware. All right. Township of Malahide Federal Cannabis Act review. Receive and file. Dietrich Engineering Limited holiday greetings, donation to the Ellis Craig Area Food Bank. City of Stratford funding and support for via rail service. Receive and file. City of Toronto received physical copy in mail from all those municipalities now proclaimed into law on Bill 23. I like the way you put that all together so we don't have 6 of them. OPP Middlesex command announcements. I don't know if everybody, I hope everybody saw that, the changes there. Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, decision notification, EA requirements for advanced recycling facilities. Receive and file. Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, changes to Oil, Gas, and Salt Resources Act, carbon storage. Receive and file. All right, we'll go on to other and urgent business. Let's start with Natalie. You have a report from the Economic Development.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just tee up my screen share here. Okay, as of 2022, we received a grant for the Tourism Relief Fund in the amount of $100,000. There were some plans that were made to spend that funding, and I'm just going to update you with some projects that we're tying up right now. The provision to the funding was that the funds, we could prove that there were deliverables on the funds by the end of the year, December 31st. We went forward with the development of an app. So as everyone knows, the use of mobile devices is pretty much so widespread that everyone sort of uses them day to day as they go through life. We thought that an app would be a good way to add another communication tool to what we're already using to communicate to residents and businesses throughout the municipality. The app that is currently in development, it's not quite finished, but the beta version has been uploaded for us to view. It's quite powerful. It ties in communication with every department. As you can see from this screen share here, different departments, including recreation, requests for service with public works, updates with roads and infrastructure, garbage and recycling. It communicates locations throughout the municipality and ties in with Google Maps to show people a quick way to find out where things are throughout the municipality. There is also an option for the user to receive push notifications. So if there are emergency alerts or important things that we want to communicate, they have the option to receive those on their devices as well. And as well, it ties over to events that are happening throughout the municipality and other forms of communication, such as social media, and a quick way to contact counselors and staff. So through the development, we're earmarking the middle of January or so to have a launch into Apple and Google Play stores so that people can download the apps free of charge. This app can be changed, so we'll have the ability to make changes in-house, which is kind of nice. We don't have to worry about extra development costs. And the app is directly linked in most cases to the information that's on our website. So as changes are made on our website, they're pushed through to the app. In January, when we're getting ready to launch, we'll be working with the developer to start a marketing campaign to make sure that everyone is aware how they can use it, how they can download it, and the different ways it can be beneficial for them to communicate. or to receive communications. Another piece that project we've been working on is a business directory, which is tied in with GIS mapping system. So this is a project that the county had already initiated. And when I spoke to them, they offered to get in touch with their developer, who were then able to tailor that system just to our municipality. So at the outset, we were looking at a business directory to provide an easy way for people to find businesses in the municipality. But what this system does is it actually provides much more than that. We are able to use it as a business directory as well as a property search. So if we decide to move forward with that as part of the package, we can link in MLS to automatically upload property listings in the municipality, as well as it has access to data such as demographics, labor force, consumer expenditures, different occupations, and mean salaries. So for businesses that look at the municipality as a prospective place to do business, it's a very powerful way of connecting that information with them. And that will all be accessible through our website. So I just received a link today where the county has integrated it into, excuse me, sorry, into our website. And it will be live also by the end of the year. So we have been able to demonstrate that this is a deliverable that we've seen. I think that's it for the business directory I needed to say. There was some funding that was earmarked for photography and videography, which at the time I started, it wasn't really possible to complete that project because of the time of year. So we decided as a group to invest in a couple of drones, which are going to be great tools for many departments, including fire, recreation, and infrastructure and drainage. So we have the drones. They're all charged up, ready to go. We're going to be receiving some training before we start implementing them. We want to make sure that everyone receives a proper training before they're starting to use them, but it will definitely be useful. And in terms of tourism, we'll be able to use it in the communities to showcase businesses, to showcase our recreation and facility areas. And I think it'll be a powerful way to showcase that on our website and through social media. And the final thing we've set up, some of you may have noticed, a digital sign that we have installed in the lobby. And this system is updated from the system we had before. So we have a bigger, brighter screen. It's a commercial grade screen. It's easy to read. It's also easy to populate with slides and new information. We can do it from the desktop. So we decided that with the old screen, we could set it up at the arena and use it as another monitor, which I'm getting some pricing now on another unit there so that we can also control the content from the office here and have it uploaded to the arena. So it'll be the same content, just another way to communicate what's happening around the municipality and yeah, hopefully keep people informed. This is actually the final piece of the budget here was recreation and facility signage. So I've been working closely with Brandon and Vance and the sign company to create designs that highlight and mark where our facilities are and what's included with them. Because we noticed that in a lot of the areas, you know, you show up at a park and it's a nice looking park, but you don't really understand what's fully there. So it's a good way to sort of highlight all the things that are available to people. So we have some location signage as well as some directional signage where there will be smaller signs on major roadways that will point to where the community centers are and the arenas and parks. So I've been in touch with the county to make sure that they're going to be okay with the locations of the directional signage. So we will be meeting in the new year to discuss all of that. they've received a list of the signs and Google Map pictures of where those locations are, and they're okay with them. They just want to make sure they're put up safely and correctly.
All right, questions? Comments?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before
go ahead.
we open the floor to questions, I just want to add a little bit of background to this project. The previous economic development coordinator, Amber Tiller, is the one who filled out the application for this funding. And it was received during the summer that our funding had been approved, the $100,000. Now, unfortunately, the two individuals who were involved in the project, which were Amber and the CAO, Jonathan Graham, have left us. So because of the tight deadline when Natalie arrived, which is what, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, this fell on her lap, and the expenses needed to be incurred, invoiced, and paid for before the end of the year. So I would like to take my hats off to Natalie. This has basically been her priority since she has started here, and she's done an amazing job with utilizing the funding to the max. Not that we were able to reach the 100,000, but we were about 20,000 short. So she did really well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, having said, now, you didn't mention about this, the fencing
Oh,
in your
sorry.
report.
I thought that was already discussed at a previous meeting, but I can hand that
So
over to Brandon.
part of this grant, so Brandon, you,
So what Natalie didn't include is all the infrastructure for the dog park is also included through that grant.
I thought that was
Yeah.
the one that we needed to speak here, that fencing is a granted project as well. So comments, questions? Counselor Daigle.
A question on the signage side. For the lobby signs, could something have been incorporated for the village of Elsa Craig? So that they see these kind of things? I'm thinking the ideal location is the old town hall, that sign, have it replaced with a digital sign. So if we're pushing through notices, water is off or whatever it is, they can see it on our sign out front here, which was that anyway, out front. And it would also be on the highway in Elsa Craig, so people would see it.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify on that, if I may. So you're talking about an external sign that's
Similar
outside
what's
to
out
this one
front.
here?
Right.
That's something that we could get pricing on. I don't think that we have enough time to have
Not
that
that I know
purchaser
for this.
install, but that's a really good idea. I guess that would be put into the budget then for next year. I suppose.
Through the mayor, yes, that is something we can incorporate in the 2023 budget.
Counselor Irwin.
I'm a little annoyed that Councillor Daigle took my comment. So yes, an outdoor sign in that community would go a long ways to inform people. Can we prepay for it?
Yeah,
Through the mayor to Councillor Irwin, we have 2 days because the office is closed next week. So it really does not give us any time to research and investigate and do what would be needed to be done.
So the challenge will be to look for another grant to help to pay for that sign in another year, right?
yes, there is another grant coming up. The county's talked about releasing. I don't have the full details on it, but I spoke with Kara about that, and we'll be talking the new year about. I think that they're announcing their funding in the next month, probably for
Okay.
upcoming year. So keep that in mind.
Counselor Knellison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Good report, Natalie. Well done, and great spending money. I love it. It's great. I do have a question for you on the app about news and alerts. My question for you is, and I anticipate that would include road closures, fire hazards, things of that nature. My question for you is, who will be responsible for putting this in there? Because we've tried this thing before, and it seemed that the information never really got put on the app. So is there someone delegated to be responsible for that, or does each department have a person assigned for that, or how is that going to work?
So I would be the one doing the uploading that information on the direction of whomever in the department. So we have to take a look at what kinds of things, like right now, we're in the middle of the development. Once everything is finalized and uploaded to the app, then we can decide, okay, how are we going to make sure that each department and their information is communicated in a timely fashion, but it will be me that will be uploading that information.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that given the season and what they're talking about coming on this weekend, I'm thinking like in the event that there's road closures, I mean, like municipal road closures.
Yeah.
Or even with flooding that we had some time ago, is there a process in place where someone would be responsible for communicating that to you then, that it would then be put on into the system?
Yeah, so part of our emergency preparedness initiative and the project that we're working on right now to determine that communications will be an important part of all of that. So, I mean, that's something that we're going to be deciding as a group on the team that we've put together for emergency management. And yeah, that will be at the top of the list, is communicating that information out to the public.
Thank you.
So we will get in the future, like an update on that, how we're going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may add, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The app also has the push notification possibility for our residents to sign up for. So in the event of a flooding or a fire, or we will have, through the app, Natalie will set up where residents who have signed up for the app and have downloaded the app will get a notification on their phone of that specific event. And to add, I have the beta version of the app on my phone. If anybody would like to have a look to see how it works, feel free. You can have a look.
You raised an interesting point there, Estelle, and that is, would members of the public have access then to put some information on this app as well, or not?
No, they will not. This will be totally maintained by us here at the municipality.
Any other questions?
I think Brandon.
Sorry, any other
has-
questions for Natalie?
Brandon has something
Brandon,
to add.
go ahead.
Just to add to Natalie and Estelle's comment, I'm also testing the app and I signed up for community events as a push notification. And this morning when I woke up and checked my phone, I had noticed that a community event, one of the notifications on my work phone was there's a new community event. So it works quite well. It should be something that our residents see quite a bit of value in.
Excellent. Any other questions on that? I don't think we need a motion for that report, do we?
No, we do not.
Okay. Our next order of business under other business, Councillor Irwin.
I thought I was doing this later, but I can do it now.
Yep.
Yes, I asked the mayor if he would help to prepare a motion. I would like to put my name forward to sit on the board of the Rural Ontario Municipal Association. There has to be a motion made before the 23rd, I think.
Yes.
So it has to be at tonight's council meeting. Yes.
Yeah. So just before I open it to questions, Richard checked for us, and Roma, just from a financial response from North Middlesex, there really isn't one. Roma will reimburse the travel expenses for all board meetings and AMO board meetings if applicable in the summer retreat. So the cost, Roma does pick up the cost just for council, but is there questions for Councillor Irwin on this?
Well, I can tell you I'm interested because of my professional background and what I do. And I also have looked at the Roma board, and smaller, lower tier municipalities are not well represented on Roma. So I think it would be helpful to have us there, given who we are.
I agree. Not only would I endorse it, I wish you luck in being on the board, because I agree with you on that statement. Questions, comments from council?
Yes, I think there has to be a motion. this evening.
We have a motion here. If Richard, if you read that motion, and then we have prepared a motion for this.
Thank you, Worship. The motion is as follows. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of North Middlesex endorses Bill Irwin, Councillor Ward 2, Municipality of North Middlesex for the position of Roma Zone 1 Representative for the 2023 to 2027 Roma Board of Directors.
There you go. We are looking for a mover. Counselor Daigle, seconded. Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next item under other business that I have in front of me is a water tower lights. Who want, Counselor Daigle or Counselor Irwin, who's going to bring that forward?
I can speak to it if you'd like. Councillor Irwin contacted me the other night, had received a complaint. The complainant was from Ward 3. So I went out and had a look, and I have sent pictures to Jayden to have a look at. They feel that the water tower is quite bright at night, considering it's out in a rural community. I've looked at it. It is bright. I don't think it's excessively bright myself personally, but when you're not used to it, do you have the ability to put those pictures up at all? Because one of the pictures is taken from this person's driveway. So you can see what they see.
So just a comment to that. I was told, and I was under the impression that these were all going to be motion censored lights. And I think that is the solution to this, because there's no need for us to be burning hydro and have all that lit up. If we have motion lights in there that shows if somebody comes in, whether it's a fire truck coming in, you want it lit up for them to come in and get water, but I don't think it needs to be lit up all the time. So you can see that's at the top side of the tower, but there are more pictures. Comments from council on this? Never mind the signs, Councillor Keel. It's just. Go ahead, Councillor Daigle.
If we're going to proceed with dimmers or motion activation, whatever it is, I think that's a great solution to
I think
this.
that's a solution to it.
Yes.
And yeah, see there, you can see that that looks like it's on a roadway. And that's just in the laneway going to it. So
My question
Councillor
is,
Pinellas.
like, I see the streetlights there as well. Is the brightness caused by the streetlights or by reflection from the water tower itself? I mean, is it a combination of both? Because and the reason I say that is because as we're talking, I'm reflecting back to when the wind turbines went up, and I see like red lights out my back door all the time. And again, it was a big change for someone living in the country his whole life, but change is inevitable. So my question for you is it a reflection from the tower, or is it the streetlights themselves? What is the cause?
May I speak to you on that? I think it's the snow that's causing the reflection and brightness. In the summer, when the grass is green, we're not going to have near that. But the issue here too is there's no leaves on the trees right now. So these people see a lot more light at this time of year.
okay, so if I can, I have a question for Jayden to answer this. Is there a need for those lights to always be on? And I mean, a motion light covers that if anybody goes in to get water, because the filling station, you can see the filling station areas under those lights. So we do want that lit up when people come in, but does it need to be lit up the rest of the time, other than the red light on top?
Through the mayor. So the intent of the lighting design for the site was to ensure that the site is well illuminated and to deter people from potentially turning the site into a local hangout and to allow the safe operation of the facility. That was a consideration previously of the municipality through the design with the engineering consultant. The lights also provide for the safe use of the site. There will be a bulk water filling station there that will be available after hours. There's also a fire hydrant on the site. So the site will be used by the local farming community, Ontario Clean Water Agency, or firefighters who need to access the site. So that's also a consideration. So it's partly security and it's partly functionality.
But do you feel a motion light, making them into motion sensor lights instead of on all the time would be sufficient?
It's certainly something we could consider. We have gone back to our consulting engineer to understand what the assumptions were through the design. And they advise that they can look into this further with the supplier and with the contractor to see what all options are available, whether it's motion sensors or dimmers.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, sorry.
Through Mayor Robson, Jaden, I just installed, actually just at home, an outdoor light, and the electrician that did it, he said the setting on it, you can either do 500,000 or 1,500. You put it at the 500 and like, oh my, like, I don't want it anymore in that. It's amazing. I just wondered if the settings on these lights or like what they put on it, can they be down? Like dimmed up a bit, you know, like if there was like say 1,000. It's just a question to the supplier, whether they can, something else could come in that's just not as bright.
Yeah, I don't have that information tonight, but certainly something we can look into and bring back some information to council if that is council's desire.
Sorry, Councillor Canellison, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. My thoughts on the motion detector thing is that they're time limited as to how long they're going to be on. And so if someone like a fire truck is coming in to get water in the middle of the night, how can we make sure that the lights will remain on for them the entire time that they're filling and they don't go off?
My hope would be that with this being a new facility and new equipment, that this could be properly engineered to accommodate the needs of the firefighters or whoever has to access the site.
So I think we'll leave that with you, Jaden, to bring forward for when you talk with the people that built it and see what we can do. All right. Okay, thank you. Next one at Warming Center. Brandon, I believe, and everybody has the, I believe everybody has a copy of our policy in front of them.
Mayor Rob, members of council, with winter coming and winter storms along the way, I thought it was a good time to bring our warming and cooling center activation policy to council, just for awareness for our 4 new councilors. I won't go through the policy in depth, but it does outline where our warming centers and cooling centers are and how they're activated. So should residents call during a storm, through a power outage, something like that, council does have this policy with them so that they can look through and decide when those triggers would be activated in order to activate our warming centers. And just further note that anything beyond this policy would change into like an emergency response center. And those are 2 very different things. So I just wanted council to be aware of where the warming centers are, what the hours are of operation during our regular winter days. If somebody's looking for a place to get warm during regular business hours, just the places that are open. And then as well as in further situations, what our policy is.
So the reason that this came up tonight, of course, there's a weather advisory out for the weekend and during Christmas and everything. We thought with all the new council that we have here, and just a reminder for all of us who've been on council before to see this again, have it in front of us. And so staff met today about the process if we need to trigger this and how it will come through, and it'll come through to all councils as well, if that is needed. The other question to this is, we have to, these warming centers, we have to staff it. And when we first talked about this, council of the day, we talked, would councilors be willing to, if able to get there, to take a turn helping, being at the warming center, if you can safely get to the site, because we know there's going to be some problems there. I think that would be add to the resources that we would have as staff, because we do have to man these and to have with staff. And so that's just something for council to consider, whether we would be willing to, again, if safely able, to help man these warming centers. So, but I encourage you to take those with you to read them over so you know what's going on. And is there any questions here for Brandon at this time? Councillor Irwin?
Yeah, just to note, the warming centers have limited hours of operation. And in case of emergency, if as a new councillor, what's our next step?
So through Mayor Ropp to Councillor Irwin, should it be deemed an emergency and, you know, it does say extended heat warning, extended cold and significant power outage all at the same time. Our following locations have generators, both community centers, and then from them, we would open them as warming and cooling centers. And then it would be basically up to the CAO and the mayor's discretion of what that looks like based on the situation.
And they don't run the same hours, like they can run different hours. So yeah, that would be the next. Any other questions on that? No other questions? That's all I have for other business. Is there any other business? No other business? Oh, then I have a comment I'll make. Congratulations to Councillor Daigle, who's, you can see him in Ellis Craig pushing a stroller around. He's now a grandpa again. Once again, congratulations. And also to our acting CAO, as of tomorrow, another grandbaby. It's a scheduled birth for tomorrow, I believe. And so congratulations to you as well. You know, so that's, if no other business, we'll move on. Deferred items are in front of you. Communications, including county council. I'm sorry, we do have to, the Middlesex County Clerk on-site municipal visit by the warden to be scheduled, deferred at December 7th. So we need to get a date for that. That's what we're looking for here. So we have that yearly visit by the warden and the CAO. And so it's, what can we do on that? February? Probably not. We don't want to do it in January, I don't think.
They are going to visit at a council meeting. No, we do not want to do it in January. So
Yeah.
it would be either the February 1st or the February 15th, council meetings.
Is there any special request on that?
The 15th is also budget, is it not? Final.
Yeah, we don't want them in that.
No, no.
Not the final, but it's-
The deliberation for the budget are February 7th, 8th, and 9th. And at the end of the last day of deliberation is when budget will be approved.
On special meetings, yeah. So what's your wish? Either the 15th of February or after, even if it's the beginning of March, that's fine. Right? All right.
Your worship, is it agreed that March 1st would be a good date?
Yes, it would
Thank you.
be a great date. Thanks. Better than April 1st anyways. Communication, including county council. So at county council, we talked in great length actually about the emergency team of our paramedics. We talked about the offload delays, the dispatch issues and all those other issues. And that's a major, I think because we talked about it so much, it was in the news again the next night. So, but that's just an ongoing thing for county council. But I think the one thing that really we need to talk about here is that the Blacks Bridge has been awarded a tender to Sierra Bridge. And it can take your breath away when you open these tenders, because the first one, I believe, was $9 million that came in, and Sierra Bridge got the contract for $4 million. So that is, I do not have the schedule yet of timing. I just talked with the county engineer, and he won't know until early January when he meets with them for the scheduling on it. But that is, that tender has been awarded, and that's good news for our people at that end of the community. So I don't think there's too much else from the county on that. Councillor Knellison.
I don't know if you're able or if you have the information or not, Mayor Rob, but have the committee assignments been completed yet?
Yes, they have.
And of personal interest, can you share with me who's been appointed to London House?
The mayor from Strathroy,
Interesting. Thank you.
Colin Grantham, has been put on that. Yeah. Just for an FYI, I'm on the county budget committee, the paramedic, and Western Fair are the three committees that I'm on. But I think that's it for county, unless there's questions. Other questions? All right, reading of the bylaws.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are 3 bylaws on the agenda for tonight. Bylaws number 111, is a bylaw to authorize rental agreement with Dr. Norman Furtado and Dr. Michael Wagner. Bylaw number 112 is to authorize an agreement with Cozy Country Kennel. And bylaw number 113 is confirming bylaw.
First and second. Counselor Daigle, Counselor Keel, all in favor? Third and final. Deputy Mayor Hodgins, Counselor Canellison, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. At this time, I am looking for a motion to go into closed. And it is for a purpose of pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, potential disposition of land. Moved by Counselor Keel, second by Counselor Irwin, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll just wait for a minute for our. All right, I do need a motion to come back into open. Moved by Counselor Daigle, seconded by Counselor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. We are all back in open session again. At this time, we have no report coming out of closed session. I am just looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Counselor Irwin, seconded by Counselor Keel, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Christmas and a good holiday.